Because I heard the glass shattering, I assumed it was glass. But when I got closer, I saw that it was a piece of his skull sticking out of his forehead. That was too much for me. Hi, first time poster here. After reading and listening to countless stories, I thought it was time to share one of my own. Around 2 years ago, my friend Jenny decided to throw a party for her birthday. She had not celebrated her birthday in many years and was really excited to do so again. Something important to know about Jenny is that she was in active addiction at this time. It was all kinds of different drugs. I think it mostly depended on whatever she could get at that time. But it was bad. She is a lovely person and doing very well right now, but I do think that her drug use was one of the reasons why this all went so wrong. Her friend circle consisted mostly of people she used with. She had a few good and close friends, but not a lot. A week before the party, I asked her how many people she had invited, and she said around 80. I laughed and asked her why so many. She said, well, I also invited people that I don't know really well, but they're chill. This was already kind of a red flag for me. That night I had another party before hers, so I was decently tipsy. I knew that the other party would mostly be people that I did not know on hard drugs, which I had never done and had no experience with at the time. So I needed some liquid courage. I went with my friend Noah. She had rented a small venue to fit all the people. It was a pretty much abandoned lot on a very quiet street. There were almost no houses, only a few factories. The layout is pretty important to know. Basically, you had the entrance with a tiny yard for people to smoke. Then you had to enter the building and go up the stairs to get to a living room / kitchen type area. And next to that was a small room with a DJ. Everything was fine at the beginning. I did have a lot of fun. Around 1:00, there was a small fight. I didn't witness it, but I was told immediately after. Apparently there were 4 guys who tried to get in, but only one of them was actually invited. They were told to leave by some of the guys, and when they didn't, there was a small fight. Nothing noteworthy, I thought then. I asked Noah if he wanted to go out for a smoke. He said that he'd finish his conversation, and then we could go together. A little while later, we walked out of the kitchen and toward the stairs, but there were like 6 people bundled up at the top of the stairs. Instinctively, I took a step back. I was just turning around to Noah with this what the bleep look when we heard people screaming and glass shattering. All the people who were standing in front of us jumped back, and so did we. There was more screaming and people stumbling on the stairs. I then saw Oliver, one of the few people I knew at that party, walking up the stairs, head covered in blood. Another guy I knew by face with a bleeding nose, and my friend Jason grasping his shoulder, his girlfriend behind him. Earlier that evening, I stupidly and drunkenly fell on the cement with both knees, scraping them open, but because of that I knew where the first aid kit was. I never have any issues with blood. I can't handle other bodily fluids, but when someone is bleeding I can help them, no problem. I saw Oliver go into the kitchen and I wanted to go after him to help him. Now, this is about to get kind of gross, but bear with me. I saw Oliver had something stuck in his forehead. Because I heard the glass shattering, I assumed it was glass. But when I got closer, I saw that it was a piece of his skull sticking out of his forehead. That was too much for me. Instantly sober, I promptly turned around and went into another room. He was surrounded by a lot of people though, and 911 was called immediately. Turns out that those guys who were rejected from the party came back with 30 other guys carrying bats and steel pipes. They just started hitting the first people they saw, and they left as quickly as they came. The whole attack lasted no more than 30 seconds. I found my friend Jason still grasping his shoulder. He and his girlfriend were closest to the entrance of the property, so they were attacked first. Yes, these cowards did indeed beat up women. They did not care at all. Jason's shoulder was dislocated. Luckily, his girlfriend wasn't too wounded. Police and an ambulance arrived pretty quickly. Oliver was taken to the hospital and luckily made a full recovery. After surgery, my friend Jenny was in hysterics, both because of what happened and because of whatever was in her system. The cops were no help. At one point they yelled at her because she was too upset to form a complete sentence. They left after a while, and so did most of the people. Noah and I were still there. We tried to help wherever we could. I was still in shock and kind of numb, but what snapped me out of my daze was seeing people scrubbing the blood covering the staircase. There was nothing more I could do there, and more importantly, I wanted to go home. Noah went with me and we stayed up for hours talking and processing everything. To think that if we had decided to go smoke even a minute sooner, or if Noah wasn't having that one conversation, we would have been in the middle of this all. It would also have been a very real possibility that these guys had guns or knives. We lived in a pretty rough area, which is even more terrifying to think about. Hands down the worst party I've ever been to. So yeah, to those guys who ruined my friend's party, let's not meet again.